Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Warcraft video. Today we're going deep into the Shadowlands lore because it's clear that something is amiss. There are clear connections between almost every realm of the Shadowlands and the Titans. The vestments of the Eternal Traveler match Argus. The visuals of Argus's death magic matches that of Bomsamdi and Gorak-Tul. So the links are clear. But after seeing the Titan Forged construction of the Drop.com alt keyboard, I'm not even sure about our own world. Drop, formerly known as Massdrop, sponsored this video, and they also made the alt keyboard, one that is easily my personal favorite, has been since I picked it up on my own dime, along with its bigger brother, the Control. Now, it is built like a tank, with a gorgeously machined, solid aluminium body that gives you a really satisfying key feel. You can choose from a range of key switches, and what's even better is if you want to customize it after the fact, they're all hot swappable, no additional soldering needed. Now, it's programmable via QMK, so the stars are the limit there, and just look at the lighting, it's cool as hell, but importantly, it can be customized if you maybe want a more sleek, pro look. It's my personal favorite keyboard. It's a premium pick that will last the test of time, so check it out at the link below. A big thank you to Drop for supporting our team and this video, and with that, let's get into the video. Last week, we established the clear influence that the Shadowlands has had over the Burning Legion. Today, we cover the Titans. First, let us begin with the zones of the Shadowlands, starting with the easiest, Oribos and Bastion. So, Bastion and the Halls of Valor do look a bit different overall, but I think you can see the clear similarities. The Halls of Valor were also originally a wing of Ulduar before they were raised, so why does a wing of Ulduar bear a visual resemblance to Bastion? Well, when we go a bit deeper, you actually see that both the Halls of Valor and Bastion resemble Oribos, the home of the Arbiter, dubbed the Undying City. And there's a key detail here. The visual language of Oribos looks far older. The science fiction-like Titan tech elements seen in the Halls of Valor, they're gone. No more smooth lines and beyond perfect craftsmanship. Take a look at this concept art. The stonework isn't smooth. Everything looks a bit more rough, a bit more natural, more out of a museum. Blizzard's intent is clear. Oribos is far more ancient. So, did the Titan Keepers base the Halls of Valor on Bastion, which was based in Oribos, or were they all based in Oribos? Regardless of which option we go with, it's clear the Titans were aware of the Shadowlands. That link is just indisputable, and it's far from all. Maldraxxus probably doesn't scream Titan to you, I get that, but just wait. Long ago, the Akir fought the Tol'vir, who are, of course, a Titan-forged construct race. Now, after the Shattering, a group of Akir who had become known as the Nerubians were able to defeat the local Tol'vir in their region. Now, these Akir used the Tol'vir architecture for their own means, and this twisted Tol'vir architecture is the basis of the classic Scourge aesthetic seen in Warcraft 3 and early World of Warcraft. Just take a look at Maldraxxus. They are visually identical, they're the same aesthetic. So the main point here is that based on a chronicle, the Lich King based his original Scourge architecture off the Nerubians. The Nerubian architecture is just twisted Tol'vir architecture, and it looks identical to that found in Maldraxxus. So, why does the architecture of Maldraxxus resemble a twisted version of the Tol'vir, a Titan construct created by the Titan Keepers? It's a pretty darn big question indeed, and a very clear link between those realms. That's not all though. Here's Blizzard's description of Ardenweald. The Emerald Dream mirrors the spring and summer of life. Ardenweald reflects life in its twilight. So it's clear there's a cycle going on here. I mean, if you look back to Oribos, look at the Ouroboros artwork. I mean, it's pretty darn clear there's something going on here. Now, why am I focusing on this Titan connection? Well, here's a quote from Chronicle that describes the Emerald Dream. Others claim that this strange place had always existed in some form, a dream born from Azeroth's slumbering world soul. It is said that Freya tapped into this realm and molded what became known as the Emerald Dream. Now, the key here is that Blizzard have repeatedly connected Ardenweald and the Emerald Dream, saying that Ardenweald is the Emerald Dream's dark mirror, and that they represent different parts of the cycle of life. So, going back to the Cosmic Forces chart, I would speculate that Ardenweald and the Dream are life and death's representation of nature. Freya clearly got the Emerald Dream going in its current form, yes, but it seemed to have have existed. So, could she have done that without knowledge of the Shadowlands? I don't think that's the case. as there's clearly a link between Ardenweald and the dream. I mean, hell, Ardenweald is where Cenarius went when he died. Also, note that the Emerald Dream was formed shortly after Ulduar was constructed, and of course, a part of Ulduar was based on Bastion and Oribos. So, the Emerald Dream and Ulduar clearly have parallels to the Shadowlands. So that means that between Ardenweald, Maldraxxus, Oribos, and Bastion, well, you have clear connections. So, that's 3 of the 5 realms covered, plus Oribos. What about Revendreth and the Maw? Well, I don't think the Titans either knew about the Maw or that they actually may have covered it up. Now, the Titan death magic of Argus has a distinct black and blue effect. This effect is essentially the same as that used by Goraktul and Bum-Samdi in BFA. Now, both have their own realms in the Shadowlands. We went to Goraktul's in BFA, and Bum-Samdi's is an upcoming dungeon. Now, this magic effect is clearly different to the one used by Sylvanas and the Jailer, and this suggests that Argus was more connected to the regular Shadowlands, the regular language of death, not the strange Maw void that is consuming it from within. So, there's either no Maw connection that we can tell, or there's a Titan cover-up. But what about Revendreth? Honestly, nothing. I don't think there's anything there, though I do suspect we're going to get big reveals about Revendreth's Venthyr and the Nathrezim, for there are very, very clear similarities. Thus far, we have established extremely clear links between the creations of the Titans and the Shadowlands. We've seen that Argus's magic is clearly connected to the Shadowlands. So, you're probably wondering, what about the actions of the Titan Forged? Of all keepers, Odin is the most interested in the Shadowlands, and this echoes actual Odin. Yes, he's the Allfather, he's associated with war and such, but we need to go back to before the Viking Age. We need to go back to our earliest sources on that pantheon, all the way back to 98 AD to a Roman historian called Publius Cornelius Tacitus and his book Germania. So in this book, he describes the gods of the Suebi, noting that they worship Mercury, Hercules, and Mars. Now, in this context, the Romans pretty much would fit other gods into their own pantheon. Now, it's accepted that in this case, Mercury was Odin, Hercules was Thor, and Mars was Tyr. So why Mercury and not, say, Jupiter, king of the gods? The answer is simple: death. You see, while Mercury is the god of many things, he is also the one that guides souls to the underworld, and because of this, Roman scholars associated Odin to him. So yes, that means that in the earliest days, it seems that Odin was mostly related to death. So given the historical context of the character, it's therefore no surprise that Odin, spelt with a Y, is far more interested in death than any other Titan keeper. I mean, his wing of Ulduar, the Halls of Valor, looks like a realm of the Shadowlands. He then decided to uplift the strongest warriors to serve him and defend Azeroth. Now, this idea of ascending to a greater state, that's clearly inspired by the Kyrians of Bastion. Here's what Blizzard say about them: where those who surpass their trials earn the honor of ascension to a higher calling beside the Archon, first among the winged Kyrians. Yeah, very original of you, Odin. So, Odin knew that he wanted to create his Valjar, but he also knew that he needed a way to actually get the Vrykul spirits and to peer into the Shadowlands. So, the Legend of Odin describes the deal that he made with a Shadowland spirit. In this, Odin sacrifices his eye to the spirit in return for the ability to peer into the Shadowlands. It is now being confirmed that that spirit was acting on behalf of the Jailer. Now, for what it's worth, Helya actually warned him of dealing with the Shadowlands, but Odin ignored her. Now, Odin then needed someone to help him ferry the spirits, so he made Helya the first Valkyr, massively against her will. Now, given his sight into the Shadowlands, I think it's quite clear that the whole Valkyr plan, was modeled off the Kyrians. I mean, even before he did the trade with the Eye, he was actually studying the energies of the Shadowlands. Now, Helya later worked with Loken to betray Odin, freeing herself from his will. Now, some of the Valkyr stayed with her, some stayed with Odin, while others wandered the world ferrying souls. Now, according to Chronicle, these are the spirit healers that we see in-game, though we now know that the spirit healers are actually ascended Kyrians. So, for now, I think we've just got to assume that the Valkyr and ascended Kyrians were just working together on the same function. So, Odin has modeled a lot of what he does after the Shadowlands, and of course, he is the most death-associated Titan keeper. Blizzard have already teased that his eye is going to come into play in the story of the Shadowlands, but not in a way that we'll expect. Now, there's also, I think, a chance that his pride has got him caught up with the Jailer, something that he either won't see coming, or as we alluded to earlier, that he will have seen coming but won't have told us, maybe in some sort of Titan cover-up with the Maw. There's another side to this though. When Odin takes a soul, he prevents that soul from going to the Arbiter and then onwards to a realm of the Shadowlands. And by doing this, Odin actually denies the Shadowlands anima. Now, we are told that anima is the lifeblood of the Shadowlands, and that with all recent souls going to the Maw, actually the Shadowlands is running out of anima. Now, given how it's in short supply, and given how the Machine of Death is breaking, I'm pretty sure that Odin siphoning away the strongest, most anima-rich souls will not be to the Arbiter's liking or that of the Kyrians. So, you really can see how, with the exception of Maldraxxus and the Tol'vir, which are more Ra-associated, this all ties back to Odin. Now, if Odin and aman'thul are similar, because of course Odin was like, empowered by aman'thul, then it could tie back to aman'thul. So you might then be thinking, what about Argus? Well, he is referred to as Death Titan in the game files, and he clearly wields death magic, plus his headpiece kinda looks like it's from Ouroboros, and his armor and scythe resemble the vestments of the Eternal Traveler that we get from Zolotharios through the Shadowlands Heroic Edition, of the game. Now, Argus has been the topic of speculation for years, with Shadowlands further intensifying things. In terms of Awakened Titans, there is no Death Titan, there is no Death Keeper, there is no Death Dragon aspect that was uplifted by them. Earlier, I suspected this is either because the Titans aren't aware of the Maw or the Shadowlands, or that they've maybe covered something up there. Well, here's a snippet of the vision Ilaria received from Argus during 1,000 Years of War. She saw generations of life lived and died upon it. She saw it was betrayed and bound by something powerful. It was in pain, its only solace lay within its dream. Now, the simple reading of this passage is that Sargeras' binding of Argus was the betrayal, but there is a spicier read of things, that Argus was betrayed and then he was bound, and that those are separate things. As in, the Titans left Argus alone, choosing not to nurture him. Maybe this is because they fear death, or they think death is a part of disorder. I mean, after he freed the demons, Sargeras went to the Eridar upon Argus. Now, this suggests that he already knew about them, and that, therefore, the Pantheon already knew about Argus. So, the fact that they knew about Argus, but didn't, uplift him and nurture him, is that the betrayal? And given all of these Titan connections to the Shadowlands that they've never told us anything about, you've got to wonder, is it because they fear death? Are they covering something up? Steve Denuza recently said that Realm Chronicle is canon, it's just in a Titan account of history. And that means we've got to wonder, how much did they leave out? And how much of what they left out is connected to death? I mean, if the destruction of Argus broke the Machine of Death, then they certainly will have a lot to answer for. Overall, I think it's too early to draw conclusions here, but what we have been able to do today is to clearly lay out the connections. They are indisputable. They are so darn clear. What do they mean? Well, who knows? Why does the seat of the Pantheon look like a high-tech Ouroboros? Why does, Argus look like he's kind of from Ouroboros? Why does Argus use death magic that, again, looks like Gorak-Tul and Bum-Samdis? There's a lot to answer for, and I'm pretty sure Shadowlands is going to go pretty darn deep into it, and I'm pretty sure in a way that'll maybe get Blizzard a future expansion out of the story as well. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and with that, I'll see you next time.